I am not personally very sanguine about our effort to create 10 new legislations to govern higher education sector and expect that these new laws will radically transform the way the higher education sector is currently placed. More laws are indeed going to create more disputes, which will indeed make the complexities of governance of higher education institutions much more difficult. I am speaking as a lawyer here, and I am familiar with the limitations of law. But at the same time, I also would like to see a far greater commitment on the part of academics that we need to take far greater responsibility. As our chair mentioned earlier, that academics are inherently resistant to change, and there are very good experiences to draw from the functioning of government institutions, including government bodies, but also private sector. In fact, there's something to say about the fact that big IT companies in India are now moving into the educational space, realizing that the best of the Indian graduates are not adequately suited to be employed in these organizations, and are actually creating a knowledge-based system for the first 1.5–2 years. This also reflects the sad reality of the quality of our education institutions, and it's important we recognize that. Lastly, I would like to conclude by sharing a personal experience. Before I moved to India, I was in Hong Kong for several years teaching, and at that time I got an opportunity to travel across China. While we should seek inspiration from the US and other parts of the developed world, we should be very mindful of the dramatic transformation that is taking place in the higher education sector within Southeast Asia as well as China. I was teaching at a university called East China University of Political Science and Law, which is a 100-year-old university. Now, one of the research associates in that university wanted me to visit their developing new campus outside Shanghai, which is 1 hour from Shanghai. He took me there. I was mesmerized by what I saw. 15 new universities were coming up in that place. Each of those universities were built in a 250-acre type campus. Some of the best faculty from around the world were brought into these campuses. And I was asking him, so tell me what's going on here. This is extraordinary. Tell me more about this. And he said something which I will never forget. He said that, 100 years back, US established MIT, Caltech, Harvard, Stanford, and many other top universities. Faculty and students came from around the world and studied in these institutions and went back to their countries and also changed many things in their own countries, including the US. We in China want to be like that. And he said, the last thing which he said, which I will leave this discussion with that is, he said, we in India or we in China are not interested in what is going to happen in the next 10 to 15 years. We are interested in what is going to happen in the next 100 to 150 years.